Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Financial Survival Network is presented to you by Regal Assets. Buy and sell physical gold and silver through your existing retirement plan, 100% tax-free with Regal Assets. If you want to include physical gold or silver in your existing IRA or old 401k, request your free investment kit, which was recently featured in the Forbes and Smart Money Wall Street Journal magazines. Call toll-free 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620, or visit regalassets.com. Normally, we do Mickey Fulp's magical monthly market recap, and we're going to get to that, but so much happened today on August 1st that we'd be negligent if we didn't cover this, right, Mickey? Wouldn't we?
Well, I think so, Kerry.
And the first thing we had was the Fed had their little get-together, and what did they say? Well, the economy's sick, and we'll do whatever we have to, but we're not going to tell you right now what we're really going to do. Does that pretty much sum it up, Mickey?
Yeah, I would say they are on guard, standing by, and ready to move on a minute's notice. What I would say to that is yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. We're at 42 months. That's, 3.5 years of 0% Fed fund rates. And this is negative interest rates, which leads to no risk appetite. There's very little way for people to make money right now. And so what are they doing? They're going into corporate bonds, which are safe investments for the most part. But, with inflation, and if you've ever listened to John Williams or read John Williams' Shadow Government Statistics newsletter, you know that you're losing money all the time. So yeah, what's a person to do?
Right now, he's saying that the true inflation rate's around 6%. We won't even talk about the 25% real unemployment rate, since we're just talking inflation here. And at 6% or 7%, that is a huge number that's just gobbling up your wealth, assuming you have any left after what's happened during the past 4 years, which...
Well, yeah.
Which is another story.
Yeah, what I know is I went to Sam's Club yesterday to stock up a bit with my 1 year's worth of stored food, and I noticed that I really like cashews, and I buy cashews by the gallon. And I went in and I noticed that cashews had gone up from $13 the last time I bought them, and they were $17.50 this time. So,
well, you know what? You should just be happy there's no inflation, because if there was inflation, could you imagine how high they would have gone?
Well, we all know that energy and food are not core inflation items now. So
yeah, tell that to the people that eat tortillas and use corn. And we've got this awful corn crop. We don't usually talk about ag commodities, but what about the post office? First time the post office, old as the country, they're defaulting, they're insolvent, they're bankrupt, right?
Well, they are, and it's a combination of a number of problems. Number one, it's a pseudo government private corporation, so we're never really sure how those things work. We just know they don't work well. Plus, you have a very powerful union that's involved, who wants to protect its employees. And you've got Congress in the middle of it all. And part of the problem with the post office is the Congress has required that they fund their retirement benefits and retiree health costs for a period of 75 years in advance. So essentially that's bankrupted them right now. They're $5.5 billion due the federal government today or tomorrow, I think today, and that payment's not going to be made. The union, of course, is calling for congressional bailout. But there's a couple of obvious things. I mean, do you really need Saturday delivery of your mail? Kerry, I'm a businessman, and I don't. The only reason I go out and pick up my mail on Saturday is because I live on a rural route and my mailbox is outside my gate, and I don't want my mail to sit there all weekend. Uh, they can cut the workforce. There is a plan to cut the workforce by 50%. So there's ways that this can be resolved. They're losing $25 million a day. The volume's down 20% year over year, and about 90% of the mail I get in my box goes immediately into the shredder if it has my name on it, and if it doesn't, it goes into the fire pit to build bonfires in the courtyard here. So there's a lot of waste. There's a lot of room for improvement, and maybe they should just let the thing go and have it taken over by private carriers.
Yeah, why not bust it up and auction it off and let FedEx and UPS buy the pieces? And, the whole concept of mail delivery, how much does it cost them to deliver one letter to you? It's absurd to think about it, even without the overpriced union labor. This is an inefficient model. It goes back to the Pony Express. And then junk mail, I'd much rather just get the stuff in a special spam box and then I just dump it. It saves me the trouble of having to dump it in the garbage. So the whole model of the post office is shot. It needs to be dissolved and done away with. And no government backing, no government backstops, no subsidies, and just let the thing die an inglorious death.
Agreed.
Speaking of inglorious deaths, we had this flash crash today with Knight, which is one of the leading market makers on the street. Humongous trade volume goes through them every day. Do you quite understand what happened here, Mickey?
I don't think anybody understands at this point. The SEC is investigating.
Well, I feel better already.
No one knows if it was deliberate. No one knows if it was a fat finger keyboard error, or for me having 10 thumbs, a thick thumb. But it was quite upsetting this morning. I, of course, hit the market on open at 7:30 Mountain Time. I immediately got a email from one of my brokers that said rare earth company that I was heavily invested in was sinking quickly. I did some research. I found that the flagship rare earth company listed on New York Exchange was also down something on the order of 25 or 30% on the morning. We did not know at the time if these two rare earth companies, which have been subject to massive short attacks in the past, this was another short attack. What convinced me immediately thereafter it was not. I learned that a junior gold explorer and with a very advanced and robust project in Mexico, also listed on the AMAX, had undergone again something on the order of a 30% drop. At that point, the short attack idea was out the window. We've learned since that I think there's something on the order of 150 stocks affected. The volumes on these three stocks were probably 10 or 20 times normal volumes.
Yeah. So...
and by the end of the day, they had mainly recovered. A couple of them were down 4%. The flagship REE company was basically broke even on the day. So buyers came in, and there were some really good opportunities for stink bids. If you had stink bids out there on some stocks today, you got them filled at wonderful prices. It's going to be interesting to see what the SEC is going to do. The thought on the street right now is they're going to back a bunch of trades out. But regardless, Knight Capital is going to take a big hit on this. And it's kind of ironic because the CEO of Knight Capital has been barking unmercifully about how Knight Capital had gotten screwed on the Facebook IPO. when the Nasdaq shut down. So I think he got his today.
That's pretty amazing to think that we could see hits like that. I mean, those those are huge numbers, and that's been the fear for the past 2.5 years. I think it's been since the last flash crash, is that nothing's been fixed in the system, and it can happen at any given time. Here we are today. It happened. So, do they have to make good on the bad trades and let the profitable trades go through for their customers, or do they just get to clear all those trades? And this is an impossible situation to really try to remedy. I don't see how it could really be done.
Well, I think, and there's, I kind of watched the way the Toronto Exchange has done this a couple of times. And most recently, about a year ago, there was a company that put out some falsified assays, and it bounced about 10 times. I think the valuation went from about 7 cents to 70 cents and back again the next Monday. And they basically went out and wiped all those trades out on those false assays. So, but, we're talking probably two or three or more times order of magnitude number of shares traded in this snafu today, and let alone the dollar amount that was traded must be absolutely tremendous.
Hey, and don't forget the credibility damage to the exchange, because this is what we've been warning everybody about since MF Global, is that the markets are inherently untrustworthy. I'm still in them, you're still in them, but we're nervous about it. And what do if you're somebody out there and you've got a good chunk of your assets wrapped up in these markets? You see something like this, those corporate bonds start looking pretty good, don't they?
Well, they do for people that are satisfied with less than 10% return on their investment, generally way less than 10%. But for someone like me who plays the gambling game, I'm looking for those doubles in 12 months or less. So that market really doesn't attract me.
Yeah, and if you want those doubles or less in 12 months, you really need to be checking out the mercenarygeologist.com, right? Little plug,
well,
but it's true.
well, we've had a very good track record. Not so good this year, but all in all, I think we're 16 to 22 doubles in the last 4 years. So that's not bad in 12 months or less.
Hey, nobody can argue with that record, that's for sure. So,
And lots of 3 and 5 and a couple of 10 baggers or more in that record, too. So
yeah,
we just
yeah.
keep track of the doubles.
Yeah, well, no one will believe the other stuff anyway. So, credibility wise, you're always better off not looking too good. Like Bernie Madoff was the master at that, right? It's like, I don't want them to think I'm making 100% a year returns. We'll settle for 6 or 8%. And everyone was happy. But that's a story
Well,
for
I'm in a
another day.
different ball
I
game,
know.
and my track record is up there for everyone to see. My newsletter comes out. The price is recorded at that point, and then we track it till it doubles or it fails.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, which is a great thing. So just a quick recap on the markets, because we had so much current news. What were the biggest performers in July? What did the best?
The Dow's pushing toward its 4-year high. S&P was up about the same, but nothing moved a lot. Of interest would be the Toronto Venture Exchange is now at a 3-year low. The emerging markets, after they got punished in April, showing 2 months of strength. Going on to the precious metals, gold and silver, pretty much range bound, not that far off of what they were the first of the year. Platinum still remains very weak, and I'm puzzled by that. What we've seen is now the platinum gold ratio go to a low below zero point 0.9 down to 0.88. Copper's still hanging in at 340. I think everybody's okay with that. WTI was up a couple of 3%. Big winner in the The energy sector, of course, was natural gas up another 17.5% this month.
Every
But
dog has its day, right?
well, but it's still pretty much a dog. I don't know too many gas companies walk into the bank with windfall profits checks at $3.22 gas. Interestingly, the Brent to WTI spread is going up. That ratio is up above 1.2, which is the highest since we've been tracking it. The WTI to gas ratio is at its 6 or 7 month low at 27. Uranium, general summer weakness, as it always is, essentially no demand in the stock market right now. So it's dropped off below $50, which is not a healthy price. Dollar index at a 2 year high, and of course, if that happens, the euro's at a 2 year low. So, all in all, it was kind of a mundane market. Not a lot of movement in anything, which is to be expected in the summer doldrums.
I think we discussed that too, that big moves probably not going to happen in the absence of some cataclysmic, catastrophic news, which generally doesn't happen in the summer anyway, but hey, who knows? You never know about it. So,
Never know when another flash crash is right around the corner, I guess, is what we learned today.
yeah,
Well,
well, they
this
fixed it.
wasn't a market-wide one, but still affected, I think, about 150 stocks, and these are New York Stock Exchange listed companies, and some of them are would qualify as blue chips. So this is major. This is significant.
Significant. They'll go through the motions, make it look like they're trying to figure it out, even though they probably already know why it happened. And, nothing to see here, move along, blah, blah, blah. And on that note, mercenarygeologist.com. What are your other sites again?
Mercenarygeologist.asia and mercenarygeologist.fm if you want to listen to Carrie and I and various other interviews I do 24/7 on your podcast and computer.
All right. And go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Every interview I've done with Mickey is on there, as well as many other financial luminaries out there. Sign up for the free newsletter. Get informed. Mickey, we will talk to you in a couple weeks. Interesting times we're living in, huh?
Yes, it is. And I think we're going to probably talk about the oil and gas business again because we've exchanged some emails the last couple of weeks, and there's interesting things going on in that sector as per usual.
Yeah, and I'll just drop a hint: propane gel. And I knew about that stock, Mickey, 8 months ago. Didn't buy, and I'm regretting it every day. But what can you do?
It sounds like something you'd put in your hair, and of course, I have
Yeah,
no hair, so it's not a product that I'm going to buy off the shelf. I don't think.
and stay away from heat and flames if you put that in your hair, because you're going to have some problems.
Well, watch out for that 50% gas and air mixture because it's known to be explosive.
Yeah. All right, Mickey. Always a pleasure. Talk to you in a couple.
I look forward to it, Carrie.